Hello. My name is Kim Gadraj, and you are listening to The Activation Show, a voice art podcast all about speaking and living your truth, feeling more fully expressed in this world. And this episode today is all about, when we really feel like we want to develop an aspect of ourselves. Maybe we see it in somebody else, somebody who is really strong in setting their boundaries, or somebody who's really comfortable in their sensuality. How do we go about finding our own flavor of that and sort of integrating it into who we are and embodying it? That's what this episode is all about. I record these solo podcasts kind of without a plan. I just let myself muse and reflect, and then I come back to record the intro later when I'm able to actually have listened back and say, oh yeah, that's what this one is about today. So this is Kim from the future, woo, telling you about it. Welcome here. I'm excited about this episode. I hope you're going to enjoy.
I want to see your eyes shine like precious stones, 'cause that means you're coming home and the whole world is shining with you. And the whole world is shining.
And now it is March. It's in the middle of March, the year after the first batch of 4, let's see, but I recorded in the summer 4 of the more voice art episodes. And it's been my intention, again, let's see, but that it's like 1 voice art episode, 1 interview episode. I've been in the meantime interviewing some amazing people, having some beautiful conversations in relation to the intention of this podcast, and I have just been a bit held up in the editing of the artistic ones. And it's interesting, because I've just been listening back to what is in the end going to be episode 3. I thought it was going to be episode 2 because it's the one that I recorded straight after episode 1, the day after episode 1. In the end, there's an interview with Raven now that goes in the middle, and I recorded that one much later. And then episode 3 was like, whew, back to the past again. And I'm just letting that be okay. I'm actually surrendering and embracing that I'm recording this now in the middle of March 2024. And I don't know when it's going to come out. I suspect it's going to be a bit faster because this kind of unplugging of the bottleneck that was the podcast has kind of happened today in a way that has also involved a kind of a deeper mindset shift of the kind that doesn't usually go away, because I've got that daily practice around me that sort of helps me stay connected to these new findings from my introspective time, and kind of staying really on track of integrating the things that I feel need to be integrated. And somehow today, for some reason, I was magnetized back to this podcast. To the artistic side, let's say now, to the artistic side and the solo side of this podcast. It is a different thing. It is a different creative act to meet with another person online and and meet them intellectually, meet them in the heart space, and really really combine different aspects of relating. I'm so honored to have the guests on this podcast that I have. Since recording the first batch of more, the podcast episodes that are just me talking and then weave in my art. It's been an idea since after that to have interviews also woven in. But I just became brave one day and I wrote out to all of these women that I find really powerful in their way and who have a wisdom that I have learned from them embodying, so that I get to witness in this life what certain things really look like on another person. You know, I think this is our value to each other as humans. This is one of our deepest values. It's to each other as teachers. And our ability, there are some things that no matter how much they are talked about, or written about, or read about, they will not be understood until we witness someone in real life, in real time, enacting and embodying that thing, whatever it is. How do we tie it down in a more concrete way? Maybe it's about setting clear boundaries in a way that feels graceful and still, you know, like in flow and not kind of stiff and awkward, and, you know, witnessing someone in their flavor, being that person, just as part of who they are, that they just without hesitation express these clear boundaries. And when you witness them do that, you don't think, oh my God, what a difficult person. You think, wow, they really love themselves. They really value themselves. They really honor themselves, and they use their voice in advocacy of that. And that is the most deep-rooted, pure self-confidence that we can ever have. That is somebody acting from a place of power. And we can talk around that all we want. We can try with however many words we want to say that. But nothing beats watching it lived out in real time, modeled for us. I think this is what the word modeled means. We are each other's guides like that so deeply. And so what it means is that there's a very big power of choice in that, in choosing who are those models, in really being in touch with the different sides of us and the ones that feel really called to come out, and for what reason. Kind of choosing intentionally who we want to be is a very beautiful practice. And I think it is really beautiful to tap into, you know, really reflecting what sides of me does that person bring out? And is that in line with the kind of person that I feel that I am and feel that I would like to be and that I would like to keep growing towards? Because it does affect us. It does make a big difference. Who we spend our time with. It's funny, I was just thinking today about how with so many things, it is so much more safe feeling and calming and playful sometimes to have togetherness in things and situations. And I will talk a little bit more about what I mean by that togetherness. But it was funny to have been thinking that today and then also to have felt inspired to look back at the episodes that I was recording over the summer, because I did have this sense that, oh, they're old news now, they're from the past, they're not going to feel relevant now. But in episode 3, my advice there is just to say to yourself, is it beautiful? Do I think it's beautiful? If yes, then I want to share it. There's been this process today of kind of allowing that it is March 2024 and I release episodes that were originally recorded in July 2023, and the things that I'm telling about my life then are different now, and that's okay. It's okay for it to be Kim from the past that is talking to you now, because I want to add music. I don't want to do a quick press, rec and publish. I do want to do post-production because it's part of my vision. And then it's going to take some more time. And I'm not willing to push myself harder to be there faster so that there's less of a time gap. It's not that I'm maybe that time gap is going to narrow, because for me, I think there's a kind of a mixture. There's my process towards discipline, where I really am sitting down to do more the things that don't come so naturally to me, like the finicky parts of editing. But I've also been having a reframe of what's important, and that the creative sides of anything to do with my business that are part of just me sharing my voice as who I am in general, as a person, as an artist, as a coach, as somebody who runs a choir, as somebody who makes music, as somebody who facilitates, just all of it. Partly to express myself artistically and partly to make myself more known to the world, to use my voice. That is important to me. And I've maybe been, in the last few months since the summer when the first 4 episodes were made, I've maybe not been prioritizing. I've definitely not been prioritizing this podcast as much as I want to. Because the podcast is a very intentional act to make it very simple to have a voice as a creative entrepreneur and an artist and a one who loves humans so very much. That I deserve to do that, and I deserve to do that imperfectly. Episode 3 is all about letting go of the perfectionist and letting go of the good girl. So it's been very beautiful to listen to that today. I don't know what this is going to come to be. Maybe just a little catch-up episode. Or background episode of what's going on. I'm continuing to collaborate with people for the interview parts. At the time of recording, I have, more of the ones from the summer still to edit. But I've found that for the second one that I edited, it was so much faster than the first one. And I was learning a lot when I was editing the first one, and it's doing the second one was not such a big mountain as I remember the first one being, actually. That's exciting. So maybe I'm going to be a little bit faster with bringing them out now. And my intention is actually to just keep on making now with the current ones in a kind of a backlog. So maybe you're going to be hearing this also in the future. So maybe it's nice to, I don't know, I kind of feel like just going down memory lane and reminiscing about what's been happening since I've made those first episodes, because I made those first episodes and I can hear I'm talking about being in England and being close to my mom and her Alzheimer's disease, and that being why I'm closer, why I'm in England. And now I'm speaking to you from Sweden, from the archipelago, from a friend of mine's apartment who's in Portugal. Very close to the sea, living on my own. And I do feel there is almost a stress aspect to it, because my life gets so busy when I'm here, but I'm really a lot more feeling that in the sense of my life is so full here. I feel so lucky that there are so many incredible people here in this place, in this one place, who want to spend time with me and do creative projects with me and co-create with me and just like chill with me and have a beer with me. It's beautiful. I feel so sure about the decision that for me to thrive, one way or another, it has come to be that for me to thrive, it's Stockholm for me. Yeah. Stockholm for me. I wish I had a song right now called Stockholm for me. Maybe I'm going to make one. Let's see.
Stockholm for me, it's Stockholm for me. One way or another it has come to be that for me to thrive, it's Stockholm for me, Stockholm for me.
I wish I had a song right now called Stockholm for me.
Stockholm for me, it's Stockholm for me. One way or another it has come to be that for me to thrive, it's Stockholm for me.
Yeah, woo! I just made the song now, you know, like this is what I haven't done before, actually. In the last episodes, I've been adding songs that I've already written. But here I really did wish I had a song for this now called Stockholm for me, so I just made one. And now I'm back. Maybe 20 minutes it took to do that. And really very much fueled by something else that's been happening today, which is that yesterday I reached out to a friend, a co-creator of Nordic Women's Gathering, Nix Davis. I reached out to Nix and I suggested that we run a creativity workshop together. Now, I don't expect that I'm sure that this podcast episode will not be released before we hold this workshop on April the 13th. I've just been talking, right, about the lack of timeliness of this podcast and how I'm really surrendering to that. Like, I can't make any promises about when stuff gets released. And I do feel committed to making this podcast happen. So probably when I'm talking about ways that you can really like work and play with me, I'll be speaking more about my evergreen things, which is Amplify, like I've been talking about before. The 16-week program to activate your voice, activate your creativity, and step into that space where you're more fully speaking and living your truth. This is something, This is an evergreen thing, and it's something that I really ask people to devote their time and attention to, because it is a big thing. It's not one of these things of like, Kim, can I come for a 1 hour with you, or for 1 hour with you, or a 1 day intensive with you and just fix this thing? No, I'm sorry. But there is a longer process and a practice around really learning to be someone who expresses yourself more fully to the world and takes more space and uses your voice and like loves yourself from the inside out and dares to believe in yourself and stand behind your creativity, and has, you know, tools and a practice around making sure that that's how it stays, because it's so easy in this world to slip into something else. It's so easy. These things, they need to be a practice. And I'm not saying, you can't do this unless you join Amplify for 16 weeks. No, I'm saying that it is so much more fun and cozy and supportive to do it in a container with a coach, with a group of people who are going through the same things as you, or similar things to you that you really find resonance with. The more we realize that other people share our wounds and share our, the things that we find hard sometimes, and also share those tender dreams, and that you're moving towards those dreams, that you're in active participation in life and in claiming what you most deserve. It is just so much more beautiful to do all of that within a container, and I've created a beautiful one if you want. You're listening to The Activation Show with me, Kim Gadraj, and we're going to take a short break now. After that, I'm going to be back to talk about how you can use your body and your body language and your creativity and your music and your stage presence to really embody and step into new, maybe even like stretchy aspects of yourself. So stay tuned for that.
Hi, my name is Johanna. So Amplify for me was really an opportunity to sort of deep dive into my own voice, my own expression, and my own creativity, and to have these months as a way to commit to yourself, to your own journey, and to your own longing is really, really beautiful. So if you have an interest in your own voice and wanting to express more, perhaps you have this longing to discover more parts of yourself, or to feel more sure of how you show up for yourself in the world, then this is really for you. And Kim, as a facilitator, she is very passionate, very driven, very, very warm, and she is very committed to her own work and in supporting other people on their journey, So, I say that this really shows through all the way. And she has a lot of knowledge about the voice and the body and how it's all connected. And I feel like she uses these tools in a therapeutic way. And she's very skillful at spotting what every individual is helped by, because it's different, obviously. So, and this is why I keep on coming back, because now I'm actually going into the Joyful Jammers as well, which is her most recent program. And this is because I discovered on my journey that I want to explore and express more through music specifically, I'd say, and see where that takes me. So if you feel the same, if you have some hidden talent there, some feeling for music, but you didn't really develop it, I really recommend you to audition and to apply for that. And I hope I see you there.
There's so many things that draw us away, There's so many things that are instrumental to being somebody who is like living a more fully expressed life. That are easily kind of like switched off by the world around us, whether it's taking us out of presence because we get in a kind of a Netflix loop, or a bit of an overeating loop, get a bit disconnected from how we really feel. It can just be, it doesn't even need to be something dramatic like that. When I am working at the desk if I don't set a timer to remind me regularly to like stretch and move and come back to my body, I will be whoopy loopy up in my head. I won't be very aware of my body at all. I can be like totally involved. Even now, japers, now I'm noticing this. As I'm talking about this, I notice that I'm sort of like a little bit in my head speaking to you. Like I'm really, really focused in on something. And I notice actually my lower back starts to stiffen up. And I've gone again a little bit into my head. Like doing this podcast, I'm sitting on the floor. I have plenty of opportunities to move around. But some forms of work, you know, when I'm like sitting talking to someone or I'm sitting writing something, I can easily forget to be in my body. It's something that I need to remind myself of. And so it's beautiful to have interwoven practices that are, you know, like dance, cold water, walks in nature, things that pull me back into my body. I was walking today in the forest, and I just suddenly noticed how, as I was passing people on my walk, I was kind of doing this thing where I was making myself smaller as a kind of a way of sort of like not being a threat to them as I walked past them on the street, but not necessarily in a like, oh, I'm so powerful, I don't want you to get scared of me way, but in a sort of like a, I put myself beneath you as a defense mechanism kind of vibe. I don't know exactly how to describe that, but you know, there's something about, in my body language, me deferring to the stranger that I walk past in a kind of making myself small. Don't notice me too much. Don't do. And I'm doing that out of sort of like safety. I'm sort of retreating back a little bit like a turtle into my shell. I'm choosing to just be safe in my little sphere. And all of my body language is kind of contracted in those moments. And I might not notice it happening. But in the lucky moment, because I was thinking about this earlier, and I was thinking about coming back to my body, and in the lucky moment that I had that thought and just dropped back into my body, I noticed also in that moment, I was just passing someone and I noticed, whoa, like, look at what my body's doing. Like my head is kind of crouching down towards my neck. I have my shoulders a bit hunched over. I'm doing like this sort of half polite, like I'm a nice one smile to them. And I just got in my head this image of, there's this Instagram reel, and I don't know, again, maybe it's a trend and it's not relevant anymore when I post this thing, but maybe you've seen it. There's this reel and there's this woman walking on a treadmill, and she starts off with her posture in quite this hunched pose and walking in quite a small way, and then you see her sort of like start to sway her hips and throw back her shoulders and raise her chest wide and hold her chin a bit higher and do all of these things that are associated with feeling confident. And this, now I'm going to start braining again and stay in my body, remember that, but into this like beautiful loop of expressing actions and feeling the thing, embodying the thing. And maybe this is what my teachers in school were trying to get at when they would say to me, when I would give a performance, they would say, make sure you make eye contact with the audience. Make sure that you make gestures with your hands. Make sure that you smile. And those are valid points, but if you just do those actions, it's not enough. what those actions actually are sort of like symptoms of a person embodying someone who is relaxed on the stage, and they're open and they're able to sort of be fluid with their gestures and move their hands, who don't feel like they have to shrink in the light of attention and can like really be in that they are on a stage and make eye contact with the audience and not need to fly off out elsewhere and not be in their body. And maybe even smiling is also part of that interconnectedness, or it's one aspect of like actively being present in your body and in active connection to your audience, because that's what develops a magical performance. And those symptoms, when I am feeling that, when I am feeling grounded in my body, connected to myself, connected to my audience, connected to the music that I'm expressing, I do make hand gestures and facial expressions and make eye contact with the audience. But telling me to do those things wasn't necessarily the way to show me that. That's a little bit what I was getting at the beginning about some things can't be talked about so well, they have to be embodied. If those teachers, if I witnessed them on the stage, making that eye contact, being in that connection, because of, I would see in real time playing out before me why they are doing that and what it feels like, what they are stepping into and embodying when they do those things like make eye contact and make hand gestures and stuff like that. And at the same time that it's not enough just to do the actions, there is, if we're really curious and we're really tapping into the body when they do those actions, we can, through influencing our body and our voice and our breath, we can influence changes on what we feel like we're embodying. So if I put my shoulders back and raise my chest and sway my hips and walk in a totally different way, can I stay open to feeling the feeling that that actually brings, which is a very powerful feeling? It's a taste of what embodied confidence can feel like if we let it be. If we let it be. And I do think this is again part of the beauty of having people around us who are modeling different things for us. One of those most beautiful things that humans can do for each other, guiding and modeling in that, so that it's never going to be the same flavor of it if I embody it. But the more people I see embodying it, being in their power, being the one who doesn't shrink when they walk past the person who goes down the street, being the one who says what they really want to say, the more people we see doing that, the more possible it's going to be for us to find our own flavor and our own grace in that thing. So I'm so grateful to the people in my life that I see, and a lot of them are guests on the podcast who I see embodying something that has taught me something very important and meaningful about life. And I'm also grateful for the act of, I quite call it artistic enactment. This is a word I kind of use for it because I feel this through dance, through like improv theater, through singing, when I'm really like embodying and feeling and owning the lyrics that I'm singing. What I see as common to that is to feel like I'm expressing that in a really authentic way, I kind of need to step into it very deeply. Sort of like take it on and be it with every cell, so that is the flavor of expression that comes out of me. And when I'm doing that, I'm sort of encouraging myself into really experiencing, for the length of the time that I am in that artistic enactment, I am experiencing the thing. I'm experiencing, if I write a song that's about coming home to my heart and connecting to my power, If I write that song, then every time that I'm going to perform it and I'm going to own it and stand behind it and let it be believed, I need to step in and embody what I am conveying. And that, again, is another kind of practice, I think the most beautiful one, that teaches us slowly to embody, okay, what is my flavor of that? How does that feel for me? The creative act, the artistic enactment act becomes a beautiful container for fully stepping into my power, my tenderness, my grief, whatever it is that I'm really dealing with that piece of art. I can take myself there. I can be a kind of artistic guide to myself.
I'm gonna trust my heart, it's always led me home. I'm gonna sit in my fire till ashes brush my fur. Only then will I rise, wipe the tears from my eyes, 'cause while so much has died in me, I'm more alive. My skin shimmers with sweat, my hair's tangled and wild, and I'm sooted and dusted and charred like the night. And my heart sings, oh, what a ride. 'Cause I'm the one who decides what is leading me, the one who decides the kind of energy that's feeding me, the one who decides the kind of magic that has seeds in me, the one who decides to heal the wounds that gently bleed in me. I'm leading me. There was a moment when I straightened my back, turned round, faced myself and vowed that I would never look back. 'Cause there's no hiding from yourself when you have seen what I've seen, and you know what it really means to embody the queen. Walk through fire, stood on the other side, all blackened and reeling, 'cause you finally know the full kaleidoscope of your feelings. So I exhale my shame, spit away my bottled rage as I prepare myself courageously to face this new age. When opportunity knocks, I will not hide behind the curtain, uncertain if I can dare to be seen to be flirting with destiny. No matter how unsure my future may be, I'll listen to the part of me that knows intuitively how to know not to want to be what's expected of me, how to boldly be the badass I was born to be. My brown eyes are ablaze, my heart is thumping through my feet as I become another dancer to the cosmic beat. Entranced, pendulum hips swinging side to side. Pendulum hips swinging side to side. Pendulum hips swinging side to side. I'm a badass bitch and I say it with pride. Pendulum hips swinging side to side. I'm a badass bitch and I say it with pride. Pendulum hips swinging side to side. I'm a badass bitch and I say it with pride. Pendulum hips swinging side to side. Gonna trust my heart, it's always led me home. I'm gonna sit in my fire till ashes brush my fur. Only then will I rise, wipe the tears from my eyes, 'cause while so much has died in me, I'm more alive. My skin shimmers with sweat, my hair's tangled and wild, and I'm sooted and dusted and charred like the night. And my heart sings, oh, what a ride. 'Cause I'm the one who decides what is leading me, the one who decides the kind of energy that's feeding me, the one who decides the kind of magic that has seeds in me, the one who decides to heal the wounds that gently bleed in me. I'm leading me.
Okay, ooh la la, it's becoming the quick and dirty podcast episode, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Quick and Dirty with Kim Gadraj. Oh dear, let me just turn down the mic a little bit. That was a little bit intense. Or maybe I'll just not. I probably won't be doing that for the whole time I'm talking. Everything's fine. Yeah, this is becoming the quick and dirty podcast episode. And what I want to loop back to is what I started to say about Nix Davis, who I'm running a creativity workshop with on the 13th of April. That's probably already happened by now. But I have a feeling, just with how it feels, how alive and, luscious it feels to be co-creating with Nyx now. I would not be surprised if we're not going to do similar things like this again. Like, we're talking about having a Facebook group. There's a regular place where you can come to reboot your creativity and share your creations, and that we really make it a regular thing, because, you know, letting our creativity bloom is one of the greatest gifts we can give to ourselves in the world. I think I can speak for both of us when I say that. But something that Nyx has been talking to me today is about the concept of layering, which she describes to me as, you know, just not letting any stroke or any layer, whatever it is, whatever is the form of the creative process, not letting it be wrong and just adding to it. And when Nyx was telling me about that, because Nyx is like, you know, working a lot with visual art and like textile and paint and like, it's very tactile as well. Like playing a guitar is very tactile, or like, you know, holding a brush, it's still like, it's very tactile, but it's a different form. She's talking to me about the process of layering, and it reminds me of the process of, I was running a beautiful improv project, actually, where I was going out into nature and I was recording an improvised track, and then I was coming back home to the studio and adding other improvised layers over it, so that then what you got was like the video and audio of me improvising in the forest, but with all of this stuff added. And this stuff was layer upon layer of me again listening through the track and improvising musically over that. And what that felt like to me also was this process of saying yes to what came before. Playing out this yes and principle of, yes, it can be a very vulnerable thing and a challenging thing to just fully accept something that we've created, especially when we've created it improvised in real time. And that process of layering over it was forcing me to say yes in every single moment of being with that last recording of the track. I needed to say yes, because that was what allowed me to participate creatively with it. So I was building up these tracks. Oh, it was so beautiful. And I feel sorry, actually. Like, I sat down, I was so excited about the next one that I'd created, and I was in England at the time. This was back before I was recording those podcast episodes, quite a while before. And I was really excited. I had done 2 different recordings in Sweden, one in English and one in Swedish, and then one in England. And I sat down my mum, my dad, and my brother in the living room to show them the video that I'd made, and they just didn't get it. I won't tell the story kind of in detail, because I'm very open, but I still want to sort of like preserve the privacy of people in my family, you know, to not tell everything that they said and they did, because that is part of my story, but it doesn't feel quite mine to tell, not without consent. But anyway, let's just say that they didn't get it, and I felt them not getting it and showing me that they didn't get it, and each of them in their different way, showing me that they didn't get it. Really threw me, actually, like, brought a lot of shame and judgment, and like made my inner critic strong. I'm really grateful to my friend Olga. Around that time I showed her the video, and yeah, she reflected back to me something different about letting my inner artist just be free and play. But anyway, I mean, look, I think I have one of them out there, but I was hurt enough by that to not continue with it. I really think that is what happened. But I think I still have it, and I will look back on it. Because that was a very beautiful project to do with this layering that Nyx has been talking to me about today. And I think it's coming out a little bit in the recording of this episode today, because what I did with the last batch of episodes and a bit why it's been taking so long is I sort of started to feel along the way what song was going to come or what creation was going to come woven into me speaking. And I was kind of leading into it, and then I was leaving the recording of that song for later. Or the adding of the song if I'd already recorded it before. And so far in this one, I'm just recording things in real time. It's like I've written this last song before, this Trust My Heart Has Always Led Me Home, pendulum hip swinging side to side. But I haven't really played it to the guitar before. So I just grabbed the guitar and played it in. And there's so much ease to that, actually. I think past Kim has actually really helped me today. That episode that was just about perfectionism and like easing the grip of the good girl. It's really helped me record this episode today. And although I was thinking of kind of adding in a bit more art than that, I think I am going to leave it there for now because it's coming to be a long episode anyway. And just thank you so much for listening. I hope that this episode has given you some insights into like embodying stuff and what that means, like a little bit deeper into what that means, like how we can really, how everything falls into place when we really step in and own things. And one way, and that's a kind of a thing that we can't just learn by doing the superficial things that some people tell us, in public speaking or singing or performance, to make eye contact, make hand gestures, do the symptoms. But, the below the surface work is to really work in and learn to feel it. And from there, everything falls into place. Other humans can teach us to feel it by showing us, by just being it and letting us witness them. And we can also kind of write ourselves in to teaching ourselves to feeling something using our creative talent. So have a little checky check if there's any ways that you'd like to take this further. If you're resonating with, this process of doing that beneath the surface work to take more space and shine with the Amplify program, just get in touch. Just get in touch. There's easy ways. Just click now in the description and I will have put there ways to get in touch with me. And it's the same for my music program, Joyful Jammers, where in 15 weeks I'm kind of onboarding you into music so that you can just activate your musical talent. It's for people who have some natural sense of pitch and timing, who know that you can sing a note back to me and clap the pulse of a rhythm, for example, when a song is playing. You can clap time, the 1, 2, 3, 4 to the music. That's really all you need, and I kind of onboard you into several musical instruments and get you, really developing music as your artistic expression form. Music is a beautiful, beautiful one, and my favorite personally, just because of there's something about music that just helps us so much to feel. I also love dance for that, but that's another story. So if you are interested in either Amplify or Joyful Jammers, you do need to get in touch with me because you need to apply for those ones. You're working pretty closely with me with both of those. And I'm giving a lot of my time and focus and attention to you there. So I'm quite selective about who I pick, and there's different, each of them is a little bit different in whether it's a good program for you. So we just need to talk a little bit about those. But, if there's some creativity stuff running with Nyx, there's probably some other stuff also running now that's not that I call it evergreen. It's not necessarily the stuff that's happening all the time, and I can't be super fast with this podcast. But if you want to hear about my bits and pieces and my different offerings, I usually have stuff going on. So just check my social media accounts or check my website, kimgadraj.com.
KimGadraj.com, KimGadraj.com. How can you forget it when it's in a song? KimGadraj.com, KimGadraj.com. Sing it loud, write it down, don't spell it wrong. KimGadraj.com, KimGadraj.com. KimGadraj, 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 KimGadraj.com. KimGadraj, 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 KimGadraj.com.
And that was this episode. Thank you so much for listening. I get so curious. Like, who are you? Who are you listening to this? We're only on episode 5 and it's getting into a nice flow with these. And it's early days, of course, but I've been hearing some really beautiful things from several different people who reached out to me to tell me that, I don't know, like they cried during the podcast, or they felt really inspired, or, so I'm loving this, and I would be so grateful to you. I can see that at the time that I'm recording this now, the podcast doesn't have any ratings. And I've heard the birdies tell me it really helps to have ratings. So if you would go in and rate or review or subscribe, or for this platform, what is the way to support me? Subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment if you're on YouTube. I would be so grateful. I would. And if you there's links to my channels in the show notes. I'm always so happy to receive messages from people who listen to this. So know that my digital door is open to you, and I would love to hear from you. Let's chat. So much love to you. Bye-bye.